Hey guys, it's Lauren. Welcome back to my channel. This is Books and Tea and all things me, and I am so glad that you are here today. Today I am here to start a new video series on my channel, and that video series is going to be called Tea Time Talks. As you can see on the chalkboard here, I just wanted to incorporate a way to do book discussions, but also kind of make it my own thing. And for me, that is drinking tea and just talking about different book related things with you guys. So today I am drinking Celestial Seasonings like normal. If you guys haven't noticed, I really love this brand of tea. It's very affordable. It's what my grocery store has. And I feel like they just have really good, like strong flavors. And I really like the flavored teas. So I just really like these. The tea bags are big. They've got lots of the spices and the flavoring stuff inside of them. And so I honestly can get like 2 to 3 cups of tea just from one of these bags, which is usually how many cups I'm gonna drink at once when I sit down and drink it. So I'm actually on my second cup right now, but this is what I'm drinking. It is the Cranberry Vanilla Wonderland, and it is snowing like crazy out today, so I thought that this was perfect. So the topic that we're going to be discussing today is how I rate books, and I thought that this would be an appropriate time to talk about this subject because it is the new year and I'm kind of making a few changes to how I rate books. So I'm just going to talk about my rating system, what each star rating means to me, and then also just some kind of random discussion things at the end here. So let's just start off by talking about what factors go into how I rate a book. And for me, the main factor is the enjoyment of the book. Whether or not I enjoyed reading it, whether it was easy for me to read, whether it was difficult for me to read, emotionally, how I felt when I was reading the book or how I felt when the book was over. These things all play into the enjoyment of the book for me, and so just my feelings are the biggest thing that I rate my books based on. So the other things that go into my rating of a book, obviously one is the plot. So whether or not I liked the plot, whether there were any plot holes, any plot twists that made it exciting, whether the plot and the storyline was evenly paced out within the book, or whether it dragged at times, whether it went too fast at times. Those types of things obviously all play into my enjoyment of the book as well, but I kind of look at the plot specifically when I'm thinking about how I'm gonna rate the book. Secondly, the characters. Did I like the characters? Were they annoying? Did I love them? Was I rooting for them? Was I not rooting for them? Did I have any ships or OTPs within the story? Do I want to know what happened next to these characters? Do I care about where they ended up or how the story ended for them? Those types of things. And obviously whether the characters were built up enough within the storyline for me, whether I felt that we got a true picture of who they were as characters, or if I was left wondering or really not feeling connected to the characters because we weren't given enough information about them. Next is world building. So obviously this is sort of like a fantasy book aspect, but I read a lot of fantasy books, so this is important to me. And for world building, this would just be whether or not I feel like I have a good understanding of the world, whether or not I thought it was creative or whether it was too similar to something I had read in the past. If there's a magic system, what I thought of the magic system and whether it made sense to me or whether it was confusing. And the biggest thing for me with world building is whether or not I'm able to imagine myself within the world. If I'm able to feel like I'm there in the story with the characters, or if I feel sort of removed from it. Obviously, if I feel like I'm really connecting with the world and like I'm a part of it, then I'm gonna enjoy the story a lot more and my rating will be higher. And finally, one of the other aspects that I do consider when I'm rating a book is the writing style. And I am by no means a writing expert. I did not take college courses on writing. I am not an English major. I am a nurse. I understand medical, but I don't have any background in anything that has to do with writing. So I base this purely on whether it was confusing for me, whether I had to go back and reread a lot of sections, whether I was able to understand it the first time I went through, whether or not I thought the writing was beautiful or poetic, or whether it was too simple, whether the sentences were too short or too long. These are all things just for my own personal preference that sometimes will increase the rating of a book or decrease it, just based on my feelings about the writing. So when I'm finished reading a book, I put all of those aspects together, what I thought about each one of those things, how I enjoyed the book, the characters, the plot, the world building, and the writing style, and I make my rating based on pretty much those 5 things. So now let's go on to talk about what each star rating means for me. So I do use Goodreads, and they use the 5-star system, and I have been using this system pretty faithfully since I started my channel. I will say that prior to starting my BookTube channel, I didn't have a very good grasp on what the star rating system really truly meant for myself. I didn't have a lot of books to compare other books to, so I might have given like almost everything I read 4 or 5 stars just based on whether I liked it or not, but really didn't consider how it compared to other things. And honestly, I didn't have that many other great things to compare certain books to. So I feel like my rating system was quite flawed before I started my BookTube channel. I didn't even have a lot of books on Goodreads. I didn't really keep track of what I was reading. So when I started BookTube, that was all sort of new to me, which may be surprising for some of you, but I just never really kept track like I do now. So since I started my BookTube channel, I have started using a pretty consistent 5-star rating system for rating my books. So let's just talk about what a 1-star means for me. Honestly, since I started my BookTube channel, I have not given a single book a 1-star rating. I can't even think of a book that I would give a 1-star rating to. This, for me, in the future, if I were to give a 1-star, it would mean that I either DNF'd it, so I just put it down and didn't even care to read any more of it, or that I really hated it so much that there was really nothing redeemable about the book for me. And the only way I can ever imagine finishing a 1-star book is if it was required for me, and I can't really think of any reason why I would be required to read something that I didn't like now. I'm not in school anymore. The only thing I can think is if I ever started a book club and I picked a book and really ended up hating it, I would still finish it for the sake of the book club, but may give it 1 star if that's the case. I just really don't use this very often. If I'm gonna invest my time in a book, I usually really like it, and I just won't even get very far into it if I don't care for it. So 2 stars for me means that I just didn't like the book. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. I don't give very many 2-star ratings either, because again, if I'm not enjoying the book, I would rather just put it down and read something that I like. If I do happen to finish a 2-star book, it may be because I thought something would happen in the end that might redeem it for me. So if I start off just thinking, I don't really like this book, but I'm gonna keep going because I feel like something's gonna happen at the end that I'm really gonna enjoy, I may finish a 2-star book every once in a while. I don't think I've read one of these since I started my channel either. I'm just picking books that I know I'm gonna like, so I haven't come across very many of these 1 or 2 stars. So let's get on to the 3-star rating, which is really something that I do use quite often on my channel. And for me, 3 stars means that I liked it. I liked the book. I didn't love it. It wasn't excellent, but it was okay, it was enjoyable. I'm glad I read it, but it's nothing that I would necessarily recommend to my friends or family or my BookTube friends like you guys. It would be a book that I tell you I enjoyed it, but nothing special. For me, a book may be 3 stars because I had some problems with the plot, or I didn't like one of the characters, or the writing was just too confusing for me, or I just didn't really care for the story like I thought I would. It has to have some sort of either major flaw or quite a few minor problems that kind of all added up to just make the book not as enjoyable as I had hoped. And for me, if I give something a 3-star review, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm not going to read a sequel or the next book in the series, but it doesn't always mean I'm going to continue with the series either. It's just going to kind of depend on what I'm hearing about the next book, or whether or not I find myself thinking back on that 3-star book. Even though I gave it 3 stars, I keep wondering what happened to those characters, then I might continue on. So 4 stars for me is a rating that I give a lot. This is sort of like my, if I enjoyed the book, it's a 4-star. This means I really liked it. I liked the book, but I just didn't love it. There was something wrong with it that kept me from giving it the full 5 stars. Just means it's not one of my favorites, but I really still did enjoy it. 4-star books I would recommend to my friends and family as long as I felt that it was something that is in line with their likes or with the genre that they're looking for. I might not necessarily recommend it to everyone if I know that it's something that is really out of their comfort zone, or really not something something that they would normally enjoy reading. Usually with a 4-star book, I will look forward to the next book in the series or the sequel to the book, and if there's not one, I often would find myself thinking, I wish I had more of this world. I may think back on these 4-star books from time to time, and these 4-star books also have the potential for a reread for me. So finally, 5-star books, and I actually gave a lot of 5-star reviews this year, especially since I started my booktube channel, just because I'm finally picking up books that interest me and that I know I'm going to love, and so I expect to give a lot of books 5-star reviews. And for me, 5 stars means that I absolutely loved it. There was hardly anything wrong with the book for me, and if there was, those small errors really didn't overshadow everything else that I loved about the book. For a 5-star book, I am like dying for the next book in the series. I will automatically read anything that that author puts out until I find a reason not to, and I will gush about this book to anyone and everyone who will listen, especially you guys. A lot of times I will want to reread this book right after finishing it. I had that with a couple of my top books from 2015. I already want to reread these books. If I read the book from the library, I know that I want a copy for myself, and so I will most likely purchase the book in the future. And also, if you didn't notice, my 5-star books get mentioned in a lot of tag videos. So those are what the 5 stars mean to me. And now I'm kind of gonna drop the bomb here and say that I'm sort of changing how I rate my books. So prior to this year, I was only using whole stars to rate a book, but this year I've decided that I really just feel the need to add the half-star ratings to my rating scale. So what I just told you obviously is still the same, but if I feel like I'm having a hard time deciding between 2 different star ratings, I'm gonna give it a half-star. If I really loved the book but it wasn't quite 5 stars for me, I'm gonna give it 4.5. If I enjoyed the book but I really had more problems with it than I wanted, but it's not quite a 3-star for me, I'm gonna give it a 3.5. So those are the sort of changes that I'm going to be making to my rating system this year. I'm going to put in my Goodreads reviews what the actual star rating is, and I'm just always gonna round up. So if you see that I've rated a book 5 stars, it might not necessarily mean that I've given it an actual 5 stars. It might mean that it's a 4.5, but I rounded up like I said. So if you follow me on Goodreads, make sure you keep that in mind when you're looking at my ratings for certain books. I've just felt like there were quite a few books in the past few months that were right in between for me, and I just really want to give them a place to belong. I think that this will also help me to really distinguish what my favorite books are and what my really liked books are. So I feel, like I said, like I've given a lot of books 5 stars this year, and I just don't want to hand out 5 stars like they're nothing. I want them to mean something. So I really think that by allowing myself to give 4.5 star reviews, I will be able to really kind of determine which ones are my favorites and which ones aren't quite there. I'm considering going back and changing some of my reviews since when I started my booktube channel to include the half stars, but I'm not really sure if I'm gonna do that yet. I might just leave them how they are right now. I might not be able to give a super accurate rating if I go back so many months after I've read something. And while we're on that subject, I've decided that I would really like to reread everything that I've read before I started my booktube channel. Anything that I've put on Goodreads that I feel like might not be quite accurate for me, I would really like to go back and reread those. This year is probably not the year for that, just because I have so many goals for myself this year and I really want to read new books rather than ones I've already read, but this will probably be happening in the future. If you watch Kirsty's channel from Melbourne on My Mind, she's doing the same thing right now. She's going back through and rereading everything that she had on Goodreads prior to a certain point in her life. I don't know what her cutoff is, but just going back and giving them more accurate readings based on how she reads now. And I think that a lot of the books that I've read in the past, I would give very different ratings now that I know my identity as a reader and how I actually can accurately rate books based on how I feel about them. I also think it's important to point out that ratings can change just based on what's going on in your life at the time, how you're feeling when you read the book, whether you were able to read it very quickly or whether you had a lot of stuff going on and it took you quite a while to finish it, and what other people are saying about the book at the time that you're reading it. I think all of those things can factor in to our enjoyment of the books. So I feel like if I reread certain books that I read since I started my booktube channel, I still might give them different ratings. I just want to end this video by saying that I want you to remember I am in no way, shape, or form qualified to give a professional book review. I just do this for fun. I do this for myself. I do it for you so that you can get an idea of what you might want to pick up and read next. But this is just something that I really enjoy doing for myself, is rating and reviewing books. So that is all for today, you guys. This video ended up being a lot longer than I was intending it to, but I just feel like this is such a good topic to discuss. I would love to discuss some of these things more with you down in the comments. So if you have an opinion one way or another, or if you rate your books a certain way, please leave a comment down below and let me know how you rate books. I would love to discuss it. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!